So we're quarter of the way through the 2020 NFL season, and it's never too early to start handicapping the hardware. So here's a look at 25% of the NFL awards, or 25% of the season. You know what we're talking about. So starting off at the top, El Jefe numero uno, MVP, Russell Wilson. Now, this is the super passive aggressive thing where we build up the Vikings opponent and then we're like, oh, they're so good. They're so good. And then if and when the Vikings beat it, was like, I told you. Face. But Russell is playing out of his friggin' mind. He's got a 95 PFF rating, leading the NFL in quarterback rating of 136.9, league leading 16 touchdowns. So he's on pace for 64 touchdowns this year, which would be, that's a record, right? Whatever. Seahawks are 4-0, and also degree of difficulty is added in too because the Seahawks have the worst defense in the NFL. So cool. Also in the mix for MVP, Josh Allen, Bills 4-0, respect. Tom Brady just doing the damn thing in Western Florida, just like all the other retirees. Lamar Jackson, of course, the reigning MVP. Patrick Mahomes is always going to be in the mix. Dalvin Cook, and then also some old guy in Green Bay. Sure. Offensive player of the year. So it's funny where if the MVP is offensive player, but they don't win offensive player of the year, it's always weird to me, but whatever. Dalvin Cook is the winner here. So he's leading the NFL in rushing with 424 yards, ripping off 5.7 yards per carry, peeling the Vikings off the mat. He is the reason why the Vikings got in the win column on Sunday. He's the reason why they probably should have beat the Titans as well. But he's the best running back in the league. He's a dynamic three-down player, and also he's the straw that stirs the drink of the Vikings offense, and he's the catalyst there. Also, in the mix, all the quarterbacks listed, then also Stephon Diggs, respect, tied for the NFL lead in receiving yards with DK Metcalf, so he's doing some things as well. Next up, defensive player of the year. So this one's a little bit tougher, but I went with Myles Garrett, leading the NFL in pressures with 27, tied for the sack lead with 5, and he really has been a one-man wrecking crew on the Browns, single-handedly changing a couple of their games. Also in the mix, Aaron Donald, of course, Joey Bosa, of course, Zadarius Smith from some team I don't know, as well as Jaire Alexander, respect, just balling out of his mind. Although being handed a safety week 1 and a really crappy interception, it sort of helps too, but whatever. Next up, comeback player of the year. So this one could go to Alex Smith, even if he doesn't even start a single game this year, but we're going with Teddy Bridgewater, right? So Alex Smith, respect for what he's done. Man, that's awesome comeback story. Also, you have Aldon Smith. You also have Xavier Rhodes in there too, sure, whatever. But, I mean, Teddy, this man's leg literally nearly fell off 4 years ago. And his career should have been over. He clawed and fought his way back. He played well in spot starting for the Saints last year. Got himself a decent contract. Is taking over this Panthers team. And he's led Carolina to 2 straight wins. All without Christian McCaffrey, the $16 million running back, highest paid running back in NFL history. Plus a front office who spent zero draft picks on offense. So he's doing all that, and he's balling out, completing 73% of his passes, 1,148 yards, doing well in the Joe Brady offense in Carolina. And also, part of, for our definition of a comeback player of the year, part of it is why you had to come back. So Aldon Smith had to come back from his own issues. Xavier Rhodes was just bad, and all of a sudden he's unbad. Congratulations. I mean, Alex Smith and Teddy Bridgewater had to come back from massive injury, which was no fault of their own. So, yeah, we're going to give it to Teddy at this point. Next up, offensive rookie of the year. So, I mean, come on. Do the gritty. Justin friggin' Jefferson. He's spanking the rest of the greatest wide receiver class in NFL history. CeeDee Lamb is the only other one with a pulse at this stage, but 16 catches, 348, and a touchdown on 20 targets. Second in the NFL at 21.58 yards per catch. 8th in the NFL in yards receiving, despite barely being used the first 2 games. Also in the mix, you got Lamb, sure. Joe Burrow, sure. James Robinson, respect, the UDFA running back for Jacksonville, doing the damn thing. Next up, defensive rookie of the year. This one was tough. So Chase Young, before he got hurt, maybe Kinlaw, but for our money, Antoine Winfield Jr. Yeah, the Vikings didn't need him. Yeah, no big deal. So already has 2 sacks, 5 pressures, been phenomenal in coverage. Also has been a tackling machine with 21. Who knew? Who knew that this is what Antoine Winfield Jr. would bring to the table? He plays exactly like his dad. In fact, maybe down the line he could be a better version of his dad, but he's really helping that Bucks defense, where Brady and Gronk get all the press in Tampa Bay, but that defense is pretty damn legit as well, flying around all over the place, and Antoine is doing some big things down for the Bucks. Lastly, so coach of the year, just kidding, Kevin F. Stefanski. So he's got the Browns, 3 straight wins, 3-1, getting it done, just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball, running it. Baker Mayfield's got his head out of his ass. OBJ is quiet for the moment. The offense is clicking, and they're getting it done. And also, coach of the year never just goes to the best coach, because obviously it would just go to Belichick or Andy Reid every year, but it's what the coach does with how people expected the team to do. So Stefanski taking over from the Freddie Kitchens disaster, peeling him off the mat. He's doing some great things. Also, I just wanted an excuse to use the Kuvansky graphic, which is just, I love it. But also in the mix, Sean McDermott, Bills, respect. Belichick, everyone thought that the Patriots would be DOA, and they've had to deal with some struggles. Obviously, Cam with COVID, just dropping that game against Kansas City. But frankly, I think Belichick was fine losing in that spot. Andy Reid should be in there as well. John Harbaugh, sure. Pete Carroll, of course. 12-year-old boy, why not? Yeah, there you go. And Mike fine. But that's it. Those are our NFL awards at the quarter poll. Well, actually, isn't quarter poll 3/4 of the way through? Doesn't matter. 25% of the way through the season, those are our awards. What are your thoughts? Who are your winners? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. We'll support that work post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.